Inside the octagon, it's man versus man. Mono e mono. These guys and girls go toe-to-toe, life and death, tooth and nail. They lay it all on the line to see who's the best. It's kind of insane when you think about it. These fighters deserve some respect. People, including me, talk a lot of smack about fighters, but you have to respect the insanity that is cage fighting at the highest level of the sport. Us fight fans, we love a good scrap. Violence and are cornerstones of this channel. But there's other ways to win a fight and be entertaining. The meta has shifted lately in this sport. We've seen a change in the meaning of dominance and what it means to be the best. Some fighters make a career of knocking guys out with flashy, fancy, well-trained techniques that get the oohs and the ahs of the crowd. Some fighters are wizards on the ground, snatching up your limbs and executing smooth, flowing moves that contort their opponent's body into submission. Some charge forward as relentless, marauding berserkers with a sole focus on decapitating their opponent. Some wrestle, some kite and kickbox, some let their hands fly and hope for the best. And then there's Merab. Merab Dvalishvili, UFC Bantamweight champion of the world. 21 wins, 4 losses, 14 straight wins. Most takedowns in UFC history, 134 and counting. 20 takedowns in a single fight against Corey Sandhagen. Average control time, 14 minutes per fight. He came into the UFC on December 9, 2017, lost by split decision to Frankie Saenz. Next, he had a wild ending to a fight that he was arguably winning against Ricky Simon. Merab shot on him and got rolled over into a guillotine choke from Ricky Simon, who squeezed the life out of him. Merab kept pumping his legs and giving the thumbs up, and the ref let it go for a full 50 or more seconds. They declared that he was out at the end and gave Simon the win. Merab hard done by there, I reckon. No idea how he kept himself in it for so long. Insane work late in the fight from both guys. Simon squeezed that for days. Go and watch that ending if you haven't. It's easily available to be seen on YouTube. Merab took care of a couple more cans after that, burning through Terrion Ware, Brad Katona, Casey Kenny, Gustavo Lopez, John Dodson, and Cody Stamen. Over those few years in the UFC, Merab became absolutely jacked, and when he got let loose on Marlon Moraes for his chance at a number 6 ranking, he beat his ass like a man hungry for a belt. The signs were there for Merab's performances. They were all dominant on his rise to the top, with very little adversity faced. A lot of people counted him out against his later opponents, including myself, but in hindsight, Merab was destroying everyone at bantamweight. He wasn't finishing his opponents all over the place, but just putting on quiet beatdowns in low spots on these cards. The Jose Aldo fight got people talking. MMA Guru and others in the fan base unleashed wrath upon Merab as somewhat of a statement of resentment of his clear but uneventful decision win over the Brazilian legend. Merab spent the majority of the fight neutralising Aldo's game, attempting takedowns but being stuffed by the crafty old veteran. But Merab refused to be denied, chain wrestled Aldo to the edge of the octagon and held him in a stalemate against the cage while kneeing the thigh to the relentless sounds of boos from the crowd. Entertaining? Not really. Effective? Absolutely. Merab beats the legend Jose Aldo by dominant, unanimous decision, and the fan base riots. Merab became public enemy number 1. But the gears kept on turning. Merab landed over 200 strikes and 11 from 49 takedown attempts against the surging Petr Yan. Then they sicked him onto Henry Cejudo, where he dominated him over 3 rounds, picked him up and ran across the octagon with him and dunked him on his back, landing some big ground and pound to follow. The man could no longer be denied. In 2024, Merab was booked to headline the historic UFC Noche card at Sphere, Las Vegas, in the UFC's anticipated debut at the venue. Even though his name was on the top of the bill, the spotlight was not on Merab Dvalishvili that night. The lights and sounds of the Sphere took focus, but it was Merab who emerged as the biggest story of the night, winning a close but clear 48-47 decision over Sean O'Malley. Merab officially became what he had unofficially been for the past few years in the UFC, while his training partner Aljamain Sterling kept the belt warm for him, the UFC Bantamweight champion of the world. And so began the Merab era. The first jewel in his belt came from his most dangerous test yet, Umar Nurmagomedov. The UFC had fast-tracked this guy because of his surname and the connection he had to the great Khabib Nurmagomedov. But he had and still has legitimate championship skill and calibre. Merab came into that fight as an underdog, as usual, and set to work big brothering Umar Nurmagomedov across 5 rounds, breaking his spirit in typical Merab style in a highly competitive and entertaining title fight. Umar showed himself to be at elite championship level, but even that is not enough to threaten the great machine. Umar learned a lesson from that betting that he no doubt will carry with him into his UFC career, but Merab firmly established himself as the rightful custodian of the belt and sent Umar back to the end of the admittedly short queue at bantamweight. At that point, Merab's pickings were slim. His championship run had begun years before he got his hands on the belt, and the options were not emerging at bantamweight. The UFC sought to capitalise on the supposed star power of Sean O'Malley and set up the rematch at UFC 316 in New Jersey. Merab was once again victorious, dismantling O'Malley and finishing him in the 3rd round by a north-south choke. O'Malley wasn't allowed to get his game off and looked lost against the relentless pace of Dvalishvili. Recently, at UFC 320, Merab put on one of his more dominant performances against the highly rated Corey Sandhagen in his 3rd title defence. Merab vowed to knock Sandhagen out and almost did so in round 2, where he rocked him with strikes and almost TKO'd him. Sandhagen was able to stay in it, and despite a solid round 1, Merab was clinical for the remaining rounds and outmuscled Sandhagen to a clear decision win, 49-45s across the board. Heading into UFC 323 in December, he's chasing a 4th title defence in 1 year. That's never been done in the UFC, let alone at bantamweight. If he pulls it off, we're watching the undisputed fighter of the year, pound for pound number 1, and GOAT conversations are being started everywhere. It's the Merab era, an era that could yet grow into the most dominant, undisputedly elite career in UFC history. Merab's got a lot going for him. He's only 34, hasn't taken a huge amount of damage in his career. He's destroying everyone he fights. Great chin, best gas tank of all time, and he seems to be getting better and better every fight. That's terrifying for other contenders at bantamweight. This has all the signs of a goated run to me. I'm only just starting to properly appreciate Merab Dvalishvili. So let's take a look at how the machine was built. Merab was born in Varney, Georgia in 1991, right as the country broke free from the Soviet Union. It wasn't exactly luxury. Power cuts, cold nights, and chaos in the streets. That's where his engine started, forged in struggle, not comfort. Georgia's a small country, but it breeds hard men. Pause. Mountains, wrestling mats, discipline, pride, that's the culture. Every kid scraps, but Merab took it further. At 6, he's diving into an icy mountain river. At 9, the family moves to Tbilisi and the obsession begins. Judo, sambo, wrestling, anything that toughened him up. Merab hated bullies. If someone was getting picked on, he'd step in. Didn't matter who it was or how many there were. That chip on his shoulder never went away. It just got sharper. In 2012, he packed up and flew to America, chasing a dream that didn't make sense to anyone but him. Didn't speak English, no cash, no contacts. Worked construction, drove deliveries, trained until his lungs gave out. Lost early, nearly quit, tried living normal, hated it, so he doubled down. Then he found Ray Longo, Matt Serra and the Long Island crew, the blue-collar corner of MMA. Linked up with Aljamain Sterling, started building something special. Georgia grit met New York grind, and that's when the real machine switched on. The wins followed. The cardio got scarier. The reputation grew. He turned into something different, not just a fighter, but a system that never slows down. And that's where the story shifts, from the man who built himself to the way he breaks everyone else. Merab's style isn't hard to explain. It's just hard to stop. He walks you down, grabs you by the legs, dumps you, and makes you wish you took up golf instead. Then, when you get up, he does it again. He doesn't care about highlight reels or fancy finishes. He cares about making you miserable for 25 minutes. He'll shoot 50 times if he has to. He'll drag you, pin you, grind you, drown you, and smile while doing it. By the championship rounds, you're done. He's as fresh as a daisy, bouncing around like it's round one. Your will to live is gone. His heart rate hasn't changed. That's Merab. He turned cardio into a weapon and pressure into pain. That's how he breaks his opponents. Petr Yan is a savage. One of the cleanest boxers in MMA. Sharp guard, deadly counters, mean streak a mile long. But Merab already drowned him once. 49 takedown attempts, 11 landed, 5 rounds of pressure hell. This time, Yan comes in with some data already downloaded, a full fight's worth of it. He knows what's coming. But knowing what's about to happen and stopping it from happening are two very different things. Yan's going to have to change his game plan from last time. In the last one, Yan just let things unfold. Not to say he let it, but there was not a lot of answers or adaptations from Petr Yan in that fight. Merab clearly, easily 50-45'd him and looked like he could have gone another 5 rounds at the end. It's not a great look for Petr Yan, but he's back on a 3-fight win streak and must know that things need to be different in this fight. Yan's path is simple. Damage early. Get Merab out of there. He can't afford to point fight. Merab is too clean and too dominant. Yan has to put him away or Merab will do Merab and bulldoze him. Yan needs to be threatening uppercuts, knees up the middle, going to the body with knees and punches and making Merab pay for his pressure. He needs to hurt Merab before the snowball starts rolling downhill. Merab? Well, he just needs to be Merab. Crash into the pocket, push him up against the cage, drag him down and press the repeat button. Mix in some striking to keep Petr Yan guessing. I'm basically just describing what Merab has done in his past 14 fights. What's to say he will do anything differently here? You have to give Petr Yan the credit of a chance in this fight. I'm not completely disrespecting Yan. He's one of my favourite fighters of all time, but unless he lands a perfect kill shot or a series of almost perfect kill shots, I can just see him getting smothered again by Merab. My early lean is to Merab by decision, going 4-0 within the year of 2025. Crazy activity, and because of that, his legacy is growing fast. The machine rolls on. So, where does Merab sit in the all-time conversation? What makes someone the GOAT? What is greatness, really? For years, the GOAT conversation has revolved around longevity, consistent success, strength of schedule, and greatness-defining moments. Names like John Jones, Georges St-Pierre, Anderson Silva, Khabib Nurmagomedov, Demetrius Johnson. These guys have impacted the sport in various different ways, but it is GSP who most closely mirrors the legacy of Merab Dvalishvili. A humble, respectful, dedicated, purposeful mixed martial artist, a bringer of positive energy and a possessor of an elite skill set that, despite not being the most friendly to the eye of the short attention UFC fan, is consistently effective at the highest level. Merab is closely approaching the level of a GSP, and that's scary, considering how removed Merab was from the GOAT conversation a mere 2 to 3 years ago. It goes to show the power of being an active, eager fighter in the good graces of the UFC brass. Merab has already forever changed what it means to be a dominant UFC champion. Who knows how long his career will go on? 3, 4, 5, 10 more dominant title defences, a move up to featherweight, or perhaps welcoming a contender from the flyweight division? Whatever happens, it's going to take something special to take the belt from that man. And I think Merab has done enough already that whoever beats him will have to do it twice. Imagine having to beat this guy in a championship fight 2 times. Do you see that happening? If he pulls off this 4th title defence in 12 months, you can't argue that we're entering GOAT status territory. Not just for Bantamweight, for MMA. And the craziest part? Merab's only getting better. Merab Dvalishvili, the cardio king, the master of momentum, the unstoppable force and immovable object rolled together in one terrifying Georgian cannonball that cannot, will not, and may never be stopped. Even though I think Merab's underratedly entertaining, we can agree that he's not the most exciting, flashiest, or nastiest fighter. But he's the constant, the reminder that effort still matters. The reward for the unending hours of training, focus, commitment, and dedication to being the best. Who can stop this man? I'll believe it when I see it. Until someone figures out how to outlast him, the UFC belongs to the machine.